Creating a company that has really strong processes is an endless, intense undertaking. It requires that you learn enough about particular technologies, systems, workflow approaches so that you can manage it effectively and make good decisions. It also requires the right kind of technology. So somebody, including you, has to be good at evaluating software and getting it set up, getting the right people to support it, which is harder than it seems. There's a lot of okay programmers who really don't make the grade. And by that I mean they understand programming and how to write code. And maybe they even understand how to write code that isn't bloated and does in fact operate the way you want it to, the way you work, so that instead of you adjusting your processes or your workflow to the software supports the processes that you've already been doing another way and that you like, that works for you. It's very hard to find. I think I've personally tested probably 35 to 40, maybe even as many as 50 project management software tools. And finally found one that made perfect sense, didn't get in our way, streamlined everything so that in our case, we offer a service. We need to do an estimate, build the estimate, quickly put it together using prefabricated descriptions for the services that we offer. And then send it out for approval. Easy for the client to approve, just one button, yes, okay, get an email and a notice back. Turn it into projects and tasks where everybody can record their time and all the notes about the project. They're all in one place, very simple. And then turn it into an invoice when it's time. We ended up with something called Avaza, and we've stuck with it because it's been really good. But it's hard to find those very good applications. Sometimes, too often, some software manufacturer will tell you that the software does something, but we're working with a client right now whose competitor sells their software for $300,000 a year, and they sell you on what's in it, but when you go to do something special or just a little bit beyond the norm that you think came with the program, they say, oh, no, we have to consult to you for that, and you'll have to pay us this much money. It's kind of a bait and switch thing to give them consulting business. So you have to be careful of those things. These are just some of the things that can go wrong with processes. Another thing is IT people within an organization are always understaffed and overworked. And when you first start talking about a new project or a new process, they often have a knee-jerk reaction, which is, can't do that. My solution for that over the years has been to get up on a whiteboard. These days it would be virtual, but you get up on a whiteboard and you start diagramming the process. And you start asking questions. Like, okay, let's talk about this. You bring in the people who have hands-on experience with it and the programmers, and you start mapping it out. And in the course of that discussion, there will be solutions that come up, and the IT overworked and understaffed IT people will say, oh, yeah, we could do that. Okay. And there's your solution. This is just one of the things that I bring to the party as a revenue coach. I've been through these exercises for decades, and I've learned a few lessons that make it go more smoothly. And it's fun. It works. So processes involve software, They involve adapting new technologies so that you remain competitive. And we all know about AI right now. Everybody's jumping on that bandwagon, and for some very good reasons. But it has to be used correctly so that it doesn't end up being something that distances you from your customer instead of ingratiating them to you. Customers have high expectations about processes, and in no small part due to Amazon. I mean, you want it overnight, you get it overnight. You wanted it that day, you can get it that day. If you want to see what other people looked at when they were looking at that, or similar products, or what their reviews were, or get a question answered, Amazon has figured out how to make the buying process a smooth and come at it from every which way. I mean, you can make a list of 30 things they do on a product page that makes it easy for their customers to buy. And most of the people running companies today are lucky if they're doing maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of those things. So we've got some catching up to do with customer expectations. And they all come from processes. It's also super important to listen carefully to the people who do the work, who are apt not to complain unless you ask them. I mean, they won't say what's wrong unless you say, okay, we're here in this meeting today to figure out how we can improve this process. Where are the places where you've gotten hung up? And let's talk about solutions. This is, as I mentioned, a never-ending, ongoing, intense process that is unfortunately overlooked by a lot of company owners because they have what they think are more pressing things to do. And I get it. I run a company, I understand. But if your customer doesn't find it easy to buy from you and get service from you and get questions answered, your revenue isn't going to grow to what it could be. So that's why processes are so important. There's a lot of other reasons, but those are the main reasons that processes are so important. There's always a solution. That's the good news. If you have a problem with your processes, there's always a solution. You just need to find it.